Pharez has been in business since April 1998. After I left my former employer, Nigeria Depositories Corporation, where I was a bank examiner from 1989 to 1997, and I set up Pharez as the founder and pioneer and chief executive officer, along with 17 other shareholders. Over the years, Pharez has grown, and we have devolved our business into three main areas. The first one is the ratings business, and our subsidiary Pharez Ratings handles our ratings business. There is Pharez HCD, which is responsible for the human capital development and training. And of course, there's Pharez Consulting. I'm the group CEO of Pharez, and I have primary responsibility for the Pharez Consulting arm of the business. The ratings business has been on since 1999, and we are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission as a rating agency. And essentially, Pharez is about excellence and about integrity. Our pedigree in the industry is well respected by those who are in the know, and we have essentially served the financial services industry, banks particularly. But over the years, we have also gone beyond the bank industry, so we will now have clients in other sectors of the economy. So in essence, Pharez is a professional service firm, and we are here to add value to our clients and make a difference in our economy. Yeah, ratings is very different from ranking. Pharez does two kinds of ratings. We do the corporate governance rating, which we pioneered in Nigeria, 2 years ago, and then of course we do the credit risk rating. Now, people are much more familiar with the credit risk rating, so I will specifically talk about credit risk rating. A rating is an assessment by a rating agency of the risk status or creditworthiness of a rated entity in the case of a credit risk rating. So we are ascertaining what is the creditworthiness of this rated entity, which could be an issuer of a security, an issuer of a bond, an issuer of equities, or any such security. So we rate both the instruments, if the rating is for a security, or if it's an issuer rating, we rate the entity that is issuing the security, that is the company issuing the security. Now, whereas what a ranking is essentially is just using whatever criteria you want to use. There are various criteria you may want to use. You may want to use the size of a company's balance sheet, the size of balance sheet, you want total assets, the shareholders fund. The rate in the case of a bank, you may want to use factors like the total deposit liabilities, the total risk assets, or such other criteria, earnings. So a ranking is just more or less like a listing of of companies using whatever criteria you want to use, based upon who has the highest. For example, if it's in the case of loans and advances, and you want to do a ranking in the bank industry, you rank them by way of the size of the loans and advances. So a ranking is merely, it doesn't really tell you anything. It just a rank is like the name implies, just a ranking of absolute figures based upon various criteria or various factors, like I've already mentioned. So it is not in any way like a rating. For you to do a rating, of course, you must be knowledgeable about what criteria to use for the rating. For instance, in the banking industry, when you're rating a bank, we look basically at the CAMEL factors, CAMEL parameters. That is capital adequacy, asset quality, management, earnings, and then liquidity. And we have there's the quantitative aspect and there's the qualitative aspect. For example, for capital adequacy, we have ratios like the capital adequacy ratio. We have the adjusted capital ratio, and in the area of liquidity, we have the liquidity ratio. We have the cash reserve ratio, and such other quantitative ratios. Some are prudentially recommended, as in they are recommended by stipulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and some are born out of best practice, in the industry, So a rating is based upon clear empirical criteria, whereas a ranking is, like I said, just a mere listing of, the size of the size of, I mean, if like I said, in the case of a bank, who has the largest deposit, who has the largest assets and all that. So a ranking doesn't really tell you anything. So if a bank says that, oh, we are ranked number 1 in terms of the deposits, well, you can give it credit because it's a major player in that regard. But have you compared the deposit, the absolute quantity of deposits to its liquid assets? Because you can have a lot of deposits, but if those assets, if the bank hasn't met the liquidity ratio criterion of the central bank, and the bank has put the much of the deposits in loans and advances which are not easily recoverable or which are even non-performing, then even though you are ranked number 1 in deposit liabilities, you probably are in bad shape in terms of your liquidity and ultimately probably your solvency. So a ranking doesn't tell you the whole story, and this must be very clear, that a ranking is not a rating. Yeah, I think that if you look at the professional services sector, of the economy, I think that you would say that it hasn't done badly, because over the years you see a situation where the available skill and talent, is much improved, and it has attracted international players. The industry has attracted international players, which has also made it inevitable that Nigerian professionals should up their game. We have McKinsey and co playing in this market now. That's apart from the big 5 like the KPMGs of this world, the Deloitte and all that, who have been in the market all the while. But the fact that now the globalization has made it inevitable that you are not just as a local professional competing with the guy down the road. You are competing with global firms. I mean, if a multinational is going to engage a professional service company, it has the wherewithal, it has the resources to do so, fish for contractors globally. So that reality, whether you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, you're a financial consultant, or whatever area you are playing in, you must understand that you are competing with a global, with people who are outside your immediate geography, immediate jurisdiction. Now, having said that, one area that is still a challenge is the fact that when you're now dealing with SMEs, small and medium enterprises, the truth is that at that level, some people still do not appreciate the need for professional services. I mean, because you are doing cerebral work and you are providing services which are not tangible, intangible services. There's a tendency, where people, play down the value that consultants add, the value that analysts add. And Nigerians like to pride themselves. Every Nigerian is an expert, in quotes. If you are watching football, everybody is an expert match analyst, and everybody is an expert coach, as it were. I see this mindset of, look, why would they need to pay to get professional help? Sometimes still playing out, such that although it's reducing, but it's still a situation where some SMEs will not be willing to pay for the professional service they require, and of course that affects their business. And we've also seen a situation where the issue of professional liability of professional firms, I don't think that area has been tested well in court. We've seen a situation where in some regards, some auditors have been indicted. Auditors of even public firms have been indicted. Some have been sanctioned by the stock exchange, by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and there was no class action suit against those firms for losses that shareholders and other stakeholders incurred by virtue of malpractice. I would love to see a situation where, if an audit firm, for instance, certifies fraudulent accounts, I would like to see a situation where the stakeholders, the users of those accounts, especially shareholders, actually take the firm to court and make them pay. But we don't see much of that, in our environment, because so because of that, there's been some laxity. I mean, if you look at the forensic report that was done on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, which for which an interim report was provided, we saw the indictment of even the auditors that were involved with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and nothing else has come out of it. So I would like to see a situation where, professionals are made more accountable, and where there are failings, the system should punish failures and punish professional malpractice where it is well established, following due process, So, but having said that, I believe that there's room for growth. I mean, the prospects, for the Nigerian economy remains very, very, very good, because virtually every sector there is room for growth. There's no sector in Nigerian economy today you will say has reached the what you call the greenfield level, or rather, sorry, not the greenfield, the brownfield level, where everything is saturated, unlike it is in the West, in Europe, and in America. So the opportunities in virtually every sector, and a professional service firm which has integrity, which is focused, and which plays the game with excellence, will no doubt do well. For us, integrity is fundamental. The promoters of Pharez, are people that over the years have made a name. I mean, our pioneer chairman, for instance, Mr. Gamale, and also somebody who is called Mr. Right. He's become an icon for integrity. He's become an icon for propriety and professionalism. And having him as our pioneer chairman for 7 years, has helped us, in terms of how we do business, in terms of our professional and focus on our strict attitude with regard to integrity. And at the end of the day, integrity is everything, because when you're a professional service firm and your credibility is undermined by factors of by issues of corruption or underhand dealings, then you really have no business being in business. So for us, integrity is fundamental, and we would always want to stand on the side of what is patriotic, what is right, and what is proper, and that's our commitment in Pharez.